Well, hello out there, Internet. It's me, Joe, here to bring you a new video. What I've got here today is a set of 8 coasters I picked up from a dollar store, and I figured I'd do something fun with them. So join me on this little adventure, turning them into something a little bit more than just the wood that they were. They were just blank wood, and what I did is I sanded those down, and I gave them a nice coat of just white paint so it's easier to work on. And in a future clip here you're going to see I was trying to explain it with just my hands, which is comically ineffective. So right now I'm just getting my paints ready, getting my cups ready, little bowls, things like that, just so we can set up our planet location. It's a lot of trial and error, trying to visualize what it's going to look like when you're done with it. Wanted to do 4 with larger planets and then 4 with multiple planets. And that's where I was just kind of showing. Let's see, it's just regular wood on the bottom. I smoothed it out with some sandpaper and just put some primer on that just to make it nice and even there. So I got one more cup to place down, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab some rocks, and these are just rocks I grabbed from outside, and I'm going to weight all of these cups down, because these are small enough where, oh, sorry, skip the step on you there. I'm going to go ahead and outline all these with just some paint. You can barely see it, but it gives us a good idea of where everything's going to be lined up while we're setting everything up. So right now we're moving into some stuff that I time-lapsed a little bit here. Just going in with our acrylic spray paint and just sped things up really fast for you here, just so it doesn't draw out as long as they can. And right there I just used a little piece of ripped sponge to texture out that paint. And then we're going to go with some yellow, and on top of that we worked a kind of a neon green color. Now on this one, we're going to do everything here, different texturing methods on all of them. So right here, it's just a crinkled up newspaper, and we're just going to swipe some lines into that, just to kind of give, like, ridges and peaks on the little planet there. And what I'm doing there is I'm moving them out of the way so I don't get any overspray on them, because I don't want to work too tight in an area there. You might notice a new angle here. I had a boom microphone for my computer here that I ended up not using anymore, and I modified it to hold a camera or phone, and I'm really happy with the way it's working out. So what I did right there is I just pushed down some paper on one planet and just kept it there so I wouldn't get any overspray. And as you can see, it worked out pretty well. And that other one, I just used my finger to texture it out. So you're going to go a little bit of purple. I believe I did a little bit of pink on top of that. Yes, I did. I'm just going to use some sponge again to just kind of dab some texture into that. This type of art, you're able to use a lot of different inexpensive materials and techniques, especially if it's something you enjoy doing. Right here, this is where I took just a little piece of paper, I curled it up in kind of a tube, and just swiped to kind of get a little gas giant going on there. So that's a gray color. I really like that gray. If I ever do something like a Death Star, I'm definitely going to be using that gray for it because it's a good gray. So what I did right there is I just pressed down and ended up giving a little bit of a twist on that purple with the black, just to create a little bit of a different texture on it. And on that gray, can't quite remember what I did. Oh yeah, I used a bit of plastic. That's all that is, just some plastic. Creates a little bit of a different texture. And at the end of the video, I'll put up an image that I took of all of these completed. I'm going to go in there, kind of going with an Earth and Moon style theme on these two right here. So right there we did a little bit of removal of the green and the blue to kind of mix it up. And then we're going to go in there with just some white and so a little bit of black, just to kind of turn it into a little bit of a moon there. Just put a little bit on a sponge, and then I'm just going to dull it back down with a little bit of white. Because the moon is pretty bright when you look up on it when it's full. And we've got our last one here. We're going to go ahead, we're going to texture this one out too. A little bit of a black one on there. And these long pauses are me trying to figure out what I want to do. So this one we're just going to kind of dab it in there. We're just going to do some random dabbing on that one on the corner there. So the next step is I'm just bringing these all into frame for a sec. I'm going to let these dry. These actually ended up drying for a few days. And if you have the ability to do that, it's a lot easier. Right here I'm using a cheap store brand black to go ahead and put my shadows in. I use the store brand because it comes in a little, it's almost transparent in a lot of cases. So it works out a lot better when you're trying to shadow things. So that way you can actually have that fading into blackness from light. And there's all 8 pieces, ready for the next step, and there we go. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just getting all my cups set back out where they were. So there's paint lids, there's some little shot glasses, and even smaller shot glasses. I like these disposables because they're round and they're cheap, and they're plenty. So right now I'm just taking those rocks I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and weight all these little cups down, including the spray paint caps, because they do like to move. I mean, just trying to set it up, you saw that one move up on the top right there. And I didn't realize this until after I filmed, that I can actually see part of my apparatus, my rig, that's holding the camera. So I apologize for that, but the next video should not have that in it. So right there I'm going in with just an inexpensive navy. I ended up picking this up at either Home Depot or Lowe's on discount. It was on a rack. It was just, all the paint on it was for sale, and they use a ton of navy and white and things like that. And yeah, see, even with that rock, that one tried to escape us here, but it actually worked out okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to hit all the edges. I just don't want the edges to be white when I'm done. I want them to have at least navy or black, and it actually ended up working out. So right here I'm going in with just some black to tone down that navy blue, so it's not just blue. Got some black. And hit that one on the top left there to take a little bit of that exposed green out of there too. And there we go. So next up, we're going to go ahead with our space gases. This is a newer color. This is I think this is a guava is what they call this color. It's a very vibrant pink sort of color, and it looks really good as space gas. Then I go in with one of my favorites, which is probably going to be that sea glass sort of color. It's like a tealish. What I'm doing off screen right here, I remember this, I ended up having to scrape off some paint buildup that had dried. It only took me a few minutes to do, but we are still rolling on this. I didn't cut this out because I didn't catch it until after. So we'll be right back in here with the color, and there we go. Kind of that sea glass greenish blue white color. We're kind of dumbing it down with a little bit of black just to bring the color back down. We're going to go in a little bit of red, because red's always nice for space gases too. And then we're going to give it a couple shots of the glitter paint I like to use. I think it gives an extra depth. It's like more stars in the background that just regular white paint won't do. And that color I just used right there, that's the color name is actually Atmosphere. It's a very light blue. I very much like it. I'm going to try to feature that on the next larger painting I do. Right now I'm using pressure control to spray stars on. I know a lot of other artists, they like to flick them on with their fingertips. I'm terrible at that, so I like using the pressure control. You have to be careful with the pressure control method, though, because it can sometimes put large globs of paint out. Right there's the first reveal. I was really happy with how these all came out. That one on the top right there, that plant on the bottom of it looks like I took a photo and put it in there. At least that's what my wife said. All these came out, like I said, in just the way I wanted them to. There's our Earth-looking sort of planet, along with the moon, the last couple of ones we got here, and the final reveal of that orange one. And as always, thank you very much for joining me today. last thing I have to do is put our clear coat on here. I ended up using a different brand of clear coat, and as you saw, I actually wrote clear on it because it looks exactly like either a gray or a black from this brand. So I wrote with a Sharpie clear, so I know which one's which. Because it would be not as bad if you think it's black, but if you think it's clear and you grab black, that would be pretty catastrophic to your painting. So this is a clear gloss varnish. And you want to use clear. You don't want to use matte or frosted, because it'll actually dull your painting down a little bit, and some of those actually have a bit of a pigment to them. Anyway, that is the video. I'm going to come in with a scraper to peel these up so I can bring them up to the camera so you can get a better look. There's the first one. Really happy with how these all came out. I will be in Concord on September 2nd. I'll have a link in the description below so you can check that out. It is a Community Pride Art Day at Kendal, Jenkins. If you want to come and see some of the art I've put together, or if you might be interested in ordering a custom piece, I'll be there from open to close. And as always, thank you for joining me. I hope you had a wonderful time since we last talked. As always, be kind to yourself and have a fantastic rest of your day.